Hey everybody, it's Karen again. Chapter 7, Grader Project. And when you look at the file and the instructions, it does say Chapter 10. So don't get too confused about that. It is Chapter 7. So in F14, we are going to create a formula that calculates the total number of employees scheduled to work on Sunday for all of the schedules here. Okay, so begin by multiplying the number of employees for Schedule A in D6 by the value representing whether or not the employees are working that day in F6. So first thing is D6 times F6. Okay, but we're going to copy this across, so we need D to stay here. Alright, so all of our D's we're going to absolute value. Okay, so we're going to multiply these two together, then add the multiplication of these two together, and then add this. So plus D7 absolute times F7 plus D8 absolute times F8 plus D9 absolute times F9 plus D10 absolute times F10 plus D11 absolute times F11 plus D12 absolute times F12. Okay, so make sure your multiplication and addition are in the right spots. So I'm multiplying these two and adding, then multiplying these two and adding the multiplication of these two. Okay, so multiply your rows together and then add the next row multiplication. I don't know how else to help you figure that out, but if you don't come up with 24, come back and make sure you're adding and multiplying in the right spots. And we'll copy that down. Now we're going to insert a sum function in D19. So we want to sum up all of this to find out what our total shift schedule is. Okay, so just sum, open parentheses, and F14 to L14. Okay, so we have 160 shifts, and we pay $80 per employee per day. So our total payroll for the week is just our schedule times our pay. Now we're going to use a solver to minimize our payroll. Now if you go into data and you don't have a solver right here, okay, go to File, Options, Add-ins, Excel add-ins, and then check Solver add-in, and then click OK, and then it might spin right here as it loads it, or it may just pop it up pretty quick. So either way. Alright, so now we're going to click on Solver, and our set objective is D21. Okay, so make sure I want to minimize my payroll for the week. Okay, right now it's going to maximize it, so I want to make sure I select minimum. And we're going to change, it says changing the values of D6 through D12. So changing values D6 through D12. Remember these points as you complete the solver parameter dialog box. The number of employee work days in the range F14 to L14 must be greater than or equal to the demand. So here's what we have scheduled, and here's what our demand is. So with the solver, I'm saying, okay, I want you to change this number to either minimize or maximize or a set value, okay? And then I'm going to change these cells, but I have some constraints that I want to put in. Okay, so I'm going to add one. The first one is this range of cells has to be greater than or equal to the need. Okay, I've got to at least meet my need. Click OK. Now I've got that constraint. Okay, so if you look at it, if F14 through L14 is greater than or equal to the demand, F16 to L16. And then the other thing that we need to look at is so there are enough people working for the days that are the needs. The number of employees scheduled in D6, so we're going to add another constraint. This range must be greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so I have to have at least one employee working in one of those shifts. Obviously, I can't have 0 employees working and be open, right? Click OK. So now I've got 2 constraints. Now we're going to do a simplex solving. So 6 and 7 they go together. And then I think on your homework it's 7, 8, and 9 all go together. So you can't do 6 and have a result, or 7. You got to do 7, 8, and 9. Now, on your homework, you're going to do a GRG nonlinear, and you're going to load and save it. Okay? You have extra steps, so be sure to look at the book, bring up your e-text, and it'll step you through that. Okay, so our selecting solving method is simplex LP, and we're going to solve it. Now on your homework, you're going to also have a report, so if you highlight something, it'll create that for you. Okay? So when it says create a solver report, you have to highlight this before you click OK. And that's on your homework, not on the problem solve. Now I can notice it changed my numbers, because a while ago it was 12.8, and now it's 10.4. So it's changed the information. I can restore my original values, or I can keep my solution. Okay, and so we're going to keep our solution. Click OK. Now on our part-time expenses worksheet, we're going to enter in cell 8, E8, a formula to calculate the total annual part-time expenses. The benefit percent is an estimate in the form of percentage of total wages and needs to be added to the cost of wages based on the average part-time hours multiplied by the average hourly rate. Okay, so this is our part-time hours times our hourly rate, and then we're going to say times, and then open parentheses, 1 plus our percentage. Okay, so I'm putting parentheses around it because I want my addition to happen before my multiplication. Okay, and then we have our part-time expenses is for the year is $2,700,000. All right. Okay, so now we're going to create a bunch of scenarios. All right. So we're going to go to our what if analysis, scenario manager. Before I go there. So it says create 3 scenarios based only on variations of part-time hours. Okay, the numbers given and the expected hours needed for next year. The actual hours are expected to vary between 90% and 110% of our projected hours. So how to calculate that is basically I'm going to take this times 1.1, that's 110%, right? So it's 231,660. You do not need to do this. Okay, this is our max. I'm just going to put it in here for reference. Okay, and then our minimum is, again, this number times 0.9. So it's 189,540. Okay, so these are our two numbers we're going to be using in our scenarios. So we can come back in, turn on our scenario manager. And again, don't put these into your spreadsheet. I was just showing you how to calculate the maximum hours and the minimum hours. Okay, so we're going to add a scenario, and this is called min hours. And we're going to change cell min, our average hours, our part-time hours. Okay, click OK, and this is minimum, so we're going to use the 189,540. Let's just go ahead and add another one because we've got 3 to add in here. Average hours. It knows I'm still probably going to be changing my E5. Click OK. And my average is my 210,600, so I'll leave it like that. And then add and max hours. Again, the changing cell is still E5. And this time we're going to use the 231,660. Click OK. Now you should have 3 scenarios. That's step 9. Now step 10, we're going to add 3 more scenarios. We're going to do another add. And this time we're going to increase our wage and look at our hours as well. So it's going to be min hours with raises. And this time, instead of changing just our hours, we're going to do our hours and our wages. Click OK. So our minimum is 189,540. Our wage is going up to 1061. Click add. Now we're going to do an average hours with raises. Still the E5, E6. 210,600, and then just change the wages to 1061. Add another one, and this is max hours with raises. And this is 231,660. And 1061. Click OK. Now I've got 6. Now if you think, uh-oh, I may have messed up my hours, average hours, you can come back and edit any of them. Okay, just edit. Yep. Click OK and change the values that you need to. Okay, so now I've got 6. So that was step 10. Now we're going to do 3 more. And this time we're going to actually change our benefits also. So this is min hours with raises and benefits. Okay, our changing cells, now here's the whole thing. Well, E5 through E7, not our total. Okay, so this is, we're working with our minimum, so that's 189,540. We're still going to increase our wages, and our benefits is going up to 32%. Click add. Average hours with raises and benefits. Average 1061, benefits is 32. Add max hours with raises. and benefits is 231,660, 1061, and 32. And we're done. Now I'm going to go double check my minimum hours that I actually put in. Okay, the man. For some reason I was thinking I put in my max. So, alright, so we've got 9 scenarios here. Okay, so we want to make sure average hours is still showing, so we don't want to change anything. Right? So I could click on any of these and then click show, but that changes these numbers and we don't want to do that. Okay, so make sure that this is highlighted but you haven't clicked anything. And now we're going to do a summary report. Okay, so I'm going to click on summary and we only want that resulting cells. Yours shouldn't have had anything because you shouldn't have put that in there. So, okay, so we're going to create a summary report. And here is our summary. So we have our current values is our average. Here's our minimum, our average, and our max. So real quickly they can see, minimum hours is 250,000 or 2,500,000. Max hours would be over 3 million. Okay, so they can just see, really quickly what the different scenarios would be for their payroll. Okay, so now in B6, we're going to type in part-time hours. Because, somebody looking at this that's not the person that made it is not going to know what E5 is. And you're probably not going to know what it is 3 weeks from now. Okay, so part-time hours, part-time wages, part-time wage, part-time benefits, and then in B10 we're going to say PT, wage, expense. And then basically we're just going to come in here and C6, 7, and 8, select those, and hit Control, and select C10. And then just hit the delete key. That'll delete those. And we're done.